I feel like I'm being sucked into something here.
You're actually not. This is not
a trap. It's always a trap.
It's not a trap. It's honestly, you got something pretty significant right. Because you asked me, is this the time? You feel like this is the time we're going to see a deep fake that could affect things.
Yeah. Oh, okay? Yeah. When we talked about the elections kind of in that context. Yeah.
And I said, I think so, but maybe not. Mm-hmm. Didn't I?
Yeah.
Something like that? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You weren't sure that it would happen, but it seems like we're on that directive.
Well, there is a deep fake out there, and it's not necessarily affecting the election. This isn't a good deep fake, but it came out yesterday and was making the rounds, and it scared a lot of people. Here it is, cut 3.
The illegal Russian offensive has been swift, callous, and brutal. It's barbaric. Putin's illegal occupation of Kyiv and the impending Chinese blockade of Taiwan has created a two-front national security crisis that requires more troops than the volunteer military can supply. I have received guidance from General Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, that the recommended way forward will be to invoke the Selective Service Act, as is my authority as president. The first to be called in a sequence determined by national lottery will be men and women whose 20th birthday falls during calendar year 2023. Remember, you're not sending your sons and daughters to war. You're sending them to freedom. God bless our troops, and God bless Ukraine.
I mean, you're right. That's not even a good one.
No, it's not a good one. And it's still convincing enough. The only thing that is really wrong with this is the mouth isn't quite synced exactly. But more importantly, it's too fast. This is based on him, 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. He's not like, in the circus secret.
He said all the words in the right order. That was the only thing that stuck out.
And really, that is. If he would have sounded more like today, and it would have been slower, and it would have been like, and you got to go out in the window.
And he threw in like a Bananas Foster reference in the middle or something.
Like my pop used to tell me all the time, son, you're not going to war. Send somebody else. Then it would have been believable. But this is the kind of thing that is going to happen. This is the kind of thing that's going to happen. And it's going to be most likely from a foreign source.
Although it could also come from, I don't think American political operatives are above it either.
No.
Now,
On any side.
Let me take your temperature on this, because I know you've read so much about this stuff, and you've really been on the AI stuff for longer than as far mostly anybody that I know. My guess is a speech like that, which if you're listening, of course, on radio, you're not seeing this, but like it's a flags behind Joe Biden official speech. We're going to war. Mm-hmm. We're calling up troops. Is less likely to be the thing that would affect an election in 2024 as let's say an off mic moment. If you remember the Mitt Romney 2012.
Yes.
47% of people don't even pay taxes. They don't care. First of all, of course, that statistic seemed completely right, and why it was controversial, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But you couldn't even see his face in the video clip of that. It was him, kind of a side profile, and you couldn't really even make out he was saying it. You just heard his voice. Mm-hmm. Something like that was convincing, where you could see his voice.
Absolutely. I could see something like that coming out about Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, especially someone like that. He's the governor of Florida. He's well known, but you get him 5 years ago. You throw a clip of him. They caught him saying this. Yeah. I think 80% of the left would believe it immediately, whether it would look good or not.
And it would go around and around and around. And even when it was debunked, it still would leave a taint. Mm-hmm. It'd be enough to change an election through just a few, like 5 percentage points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's really true. But this kind of stuff also is very dangerous because this would be targeting people whose 20th birthday was, in the year 23, which is right now. Mm-hmm. Those are not necessarily the ones watching what's going on. So that thing circles around. They don't necessarily know that because he's not watching them all the time. That's the president. Did you see this? I don't watch the news. Somebody just sent this to me. Did you see this?
Yeah.
That's the stuff, we're at the very, very, very beginning of this.
I think we've certainly talked about this and done it many times in conversation over the years of War of the Worlds. And one of the things that's fascinating about War of the Worlds was you kind of get you get kind of highfalutin and you're just like, how do these people believe this? Right? Like they're listening to a radio broadcast. There's aliens, like an alien invasion. How did they buy this? And then here we are. Now, look, these deep fakes look a lot maybe more convincing than maybe it's aliens.
War of the Worlds really, it sounded
well done.
Absolutely real.
Yeah, although it was at a time of radio dramas, which is part of the reason why you think, well, why did they believe this?
But it was also playing on Americans' innocence.
Yeah.
They had nobody had ever done that before.
And here we are.
Right.
No one's ever done that this either. And we talked about these filters a little bit yesterday. These TikTok filters, where they're taking people who are moderate to ugly and turning them into models. In real time, they look perfect. They look like they are on the cover of a magazine.
So dangerous.
And, we're just getting there. That's a consumer level product that you can apply on an app for free, right? What do foreign governments have? What do spy agencies have? What do political operatives that can raise $1 million with a crappy email? What do they have? And the way we've always disassembled this in the past have been through institutions. Trustworthy people who you can trust to look at the evidence and come back to you with the right answer.
But we
no longer have those institutions.
Because they refuse to do the things that lead to trust.
Yep.
I mean, one of the things, look, I don't ever ask you for your trust. And I think a vast majority of this audience finds me to be truthful and finds me to at least, if I'm saying it, that I at least believe it to be true.
Just a rare quality at times in this country.
in this country. Mm-hmm. However, it's not because, well, I think part of it is because, crap, he's right. But I think the majority of that comes from, because trust is like faith. You take it, do you trust me? Do you trust me? You say that when you're going to go jump off a ledge. Do you trust me? I'm not real. Okay. That's trust is something that you need when you don't know the facts. And that doesn't come from necessarily being right all the time. Because you can be wrong, and I am wrong a lot of the times. But I will tell you when I'm wrong. You don't have to hear it from a bunch of other people going, he didn't get this right, he didn't get that right. Yeah, I know. I lead with my mistakes. If I've made a mistake, now there's a difference between being wrong on a theory and being wrong on a fact. If I'm wrong on a fact, I will immediately correct it. It bothers me. But I also do that because that's what I would want somebody to do in my life. Look, I don't care if you get things wrong. I don't care if you made a mistake. We all do. I've said stupid stuff. I've done stupid things. I've been wrong. So you just apologize for it and you admit it and you're like, I'm sorry. I'm really working on this. I'm sorry. We try to do our best. And whenever we get it wrong, Stu, you can verify, we have meetings every day. I think we got something wrong the other day. Half our meeting was, how did this happen? How do we stop it from happening again?
Yeah.
And we strive for that. The media, all they have to do, imagine how much credibility they would have. Let's take Hunter Biden. If they said, look, Hunter Biden laptop thing, we had news from the government that this was misinformation. And you know what? We thought we were doing the right thing, but it kind of pisses me off now because it looks like they might have been lying to us. We're turning over all of the information. We're going through it ourselves. And we've got investigative reporters on to find out, did they know they were lying to us, and let the chips fall where they may. If they weren't lying to us, well, then we could say we all tried to do the best for the election. And in this case, it was wrong because now we look at it and we know it's not a Russian hoax. And this is something that America needs to know about.
And it's important to amend that and say, we blew it on this.
Yeah.
We tried. We thought this was our reasoning. And look, the reasoning is at some level coherent, right? If 10 days before the election, Donald Trump Jr.'s laptop was found. Now, Donald Trump Jr. isn't doing crack all the time, so this probably wouldn't happen. But it was found in a computer repair shop, and we started seeing pictures of Donald Trump Jr. with hookers and prostitutes. Us on the right would be very skeptical, particularly if it came from,
Gloria
Allred, right? We would, of course, be skeptical
Correct.
of that. However, it would be on us, despite our skepticism, to look at the evidence and see if it was real or not.
Right.
That's not always easy to do. The media refused to do it because, number one, I think they legitimately didn't believe it initially. I think they really were skeptical. And number two, they didn't care if it was right or not because they wanted Donald Trump out of office so badly.
And that's the problem. You can even come out and say, we made a mistake. We were so driven by our blind hatred for Donald Trump that we didn't want it to be true, so we didn't really look into it. And we apologize for that, and we're working on that, and we're going to try to put in some. Here's some things we're going to put into place so that doesn't happen again. But we know now that it's true, and we're going to lead the investigation on it. We want you to know that we know we were wrong, and we want to do right, and we are somebody to be trusted. So we're going to go and turn over every single stone. You may not get the conservatives to go with you. You might get 5% of conservatives to go, okay. And if you lived by that and did that a few times, you'd get more and more conservatives. But I bet you get 55% of the independents who don't trust you now. You'd get a lot of people over time, and you would fix the thing that's killing you. But they just, see, it's like chemotherapy, except it's better than chemotherapy. You think it's poison, but it actually isn't poison unless you misuse it, unless you do it too much, unless you've got a hack. But you look at that as poison. I can't admit that I'm wrong. That'll destroy my credibility. No, it's not. It's the cure.
Yeah.
It's the cure.
Admitting it would go so far.
Oh, it would.
I think honestly, from a cynical sense, it would bail you out of a lot of other mistakes / spin / lies. If you came out and just admitted the obvious ones, obviously we were wrong about the COVID-19 lab leak theory and saying it was a conspiracy theory and wanting everybody banned off social media for it. Obviously that was completely wrong. Obviously the Hunter Biden thing was true. We blew it. Here's how we blew it. Here's how we're going to fix it in the future. You know what? Maybe we're going to hire a couple of actual conservatives, so when we have these narratives, they can call us on it. And we're going to give them the ombudsman role where they can write columns saying, this is why my paper got this wrong this time. And we're not going to edit it, and we're not going to stop them. We're going to allow them to do it, even if we disagree. Steps like that are basic and easy. And if you do them, while you might feel like you're taking a short-term hit by admitting that you got something wrong, it's freeing and it creates trust with people.
Trust? No one gets it right all the time.
Of course.
No one does. If you never admit your mistakes, then you are out of the realm of possibilities of being human. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And this is part of the trust thing, to admit that you got it wrong and correct it and make sure you take steps so it doesn't happen again. That's all that people want. They don't want the media to always agree with them. They want something that will tell them the truth. Are you at least striving to tell me the truth?